Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm working on a remodel for a client. Got a lot to do outside, honestly, but it's pretty rainy and kind of gross outside, so we're gonna focus in on the inside today. What I'm gonna take on is this cased opening, which I'm gonna show you behind me. It goes up this half wall over here to this half wall. I'll turn it around in just a second to show you and to talk about what we're gonna do. All right, when you walk in the front door, you come to this half wall. Right inside the door, it has these switches. It's just a little half wall. It just has that little bit of electrical in it. I've already taken down some of that trim. I'm gonna take that top piece off right there. This is a little half wall. It goes over to this other half wall. It's got electrical in it too on this side. And what the client is asking me for, let's see if I can't get a wider shot here. There we go. Is for this to be a one big cased opening. So what she wants is a rustic farmhouse look is what she said for me, or said to me. So we're gonna go up with some lumber here. We're gonna put our main beam across there with 2x6. We're gonna come down on this side. And we've got our lumber here. I'm gonna show you what we've got and then we'll get to work. So for this top beam, after we take that little bit of trim off here, we're gonna go across the top there with this 2x6. Now, the guys at the lumber yard were pretty baffled, I guess. I don't know why I'm there all the time looking for stuff like this, but everybody wants this really nice, pretty, perfect lumber, and not me. You know, I do a lot of farmhouse type stuff, so I'm looking for the stuff with knots in the side. This giant knot here, if I can flip this up, something like that. We got the deep gouge in there. We got more on the side here. That's exactly what I'm looking for. So that's what I have. That's gonna be what you see from here. The other side of this 2x6 is pretty straightforward. I mean, there's nothing really stand outish about it. So that's gonna be, it's really gonna be flipped the other way. And so that's all the knots and things like that are gonna be there. Now the thing is, it's gonna stand out because we've got this bluish gray paint that they went with, that they had us do, but the case is gonna be white. So we're gonna do the big casing there and then a little bit of trim on the side, and I've got all the lumber for that. But that's gonna be the top piece, is that 2x6. Now for these sides, this one going up, and then this one on this side, going with something thinner, because they'll go across right here against this wall, and then we can do trim back here to hide all that, and then paint and all that stuff, patch and paint, all that stuff. So this is the same thing I was talking about, and we'll find the most. See, that side, there's nothing really crazy about it. This side has all kinds of knots and cracks and different things like that. There's a really good one down here. Here's one. There's a good one. And it'll look really farmhouse style, which is exactly what she's wanting. So the 1x6s will be on this face and on that face, and they'll run up to the 2x6. And then we've got, and I should say, I don't think I did, we went with pine because it has all the knots in it. This other stuff that I'm gonna use for the trim, which is right here, is spruce. So it's a lot softer of a wood. There's not as many knots and all that. There are some, but nowhere near like the big gouges and things like that. So I'll show you what we're gonna do, but we'll rip these down on the table saw. About 1 inch probably is what we'll do for the trim around it. But we'll have that on the face of that. Then we'll do the 1 inch trim up and then back down, and of course on the other side too. So that's the lumber, that's the plan, and now we'll get to work. I guess I should also talk about the tools that I'll be using. So I've got my Bostitch 150 PSI air tank there. Yeah, pretty straightforward. Got that a while back. I have my Central pneumatic. This is really cheap, Harbor Freight, but I've had it for like 5 years, maybe longer. Air gun there is a little brad nailer. And inside, we've got the really long brad nails. So that's what we'll use for the sides. for the faces here to go in there because we won't need very much. We are gonna need my drill, which is around here somewhere. It's somewhere in the house, I'm not sure exactly where, but anyway, we'll be drilling that into the ceiling to make sure it's sturdy, and then we'll have the 1x6s underneath it just to give it a little extra support. The only other thing, I did bring my extension cord in case I needed it. I don't think I will, but like I said, just in case. And then got my multi-tool here, which I love. This thing comes in such good handy. And we'll be using that to get rid of that little piece of trim right there, because it's on there pretty good, but we'll get it off. All right, now let's get to work. All right, guys, we're in the basement. This is where we're gonna be cutting the lumber. Right now with the 2x6, what we need is to cut this notch off. This will be excess. We'll use the rest of it, and that'll give us our length in between. After that, we'll need to rip this down to about 5 1/4, I believe it is, but we'll remeasure and make sure it's right. But those are the two things we need to do for the 2x6 before we put it up. Now, I'll show you what I got rigged up here. I am working by myself today. So things, you do have to be a little bit careful, but you also have to be creative. So this is what we've got. I've got on this side, got one of my clamps, holding that right there, exactly where I need it. Got it all squared and where I need it to be on this end. I had it held up by that clamp right there, but I've got that part screwed in. On this side, I'm gonna put several going down through here, and of course end it off on this side, and that will take care of our top piece, and then we'll go from there. At this point, I need to take a measurement from here to here on this side. Go ahead and cut that 1x6, and we'll put it up. All right, we've got the height and the width just right. So now it's time to put it on the wall. All right, now I've got to get my cords undone here. Getting ready to run out of brad nails, of course, as soon as I get it ready. Have to go get those, come back, pop it on. All right, same thing for the other side. We'll measure from here up, get our measurement, cut it, come back, tack it on. And it feels like Groundhog Day because we're doing the same thing on this side as we did on the other side. All right, so we've got the casing done. Flipping around, you can see all these cool notches, what they're gonna look like now. I have this piece of trim that'll come up right here. That'll be exposed all and painted in white. It's gonna look real rustic, farmhouse style. We'll have to take some of that trim off on the sides too to make our trim around the casing fit. But other than that, pretty much got it. So I'm gonna start working on this 1x8. Got to rip it down into 1-inch strips. So what I'm gonna do is run it just up here, all the way to the top on both sides. I think it's gonna give it a unique look, and we can knock it over. I've already knocked off that piece of crown molding there on that side. Same on this side to give it the right amount of space. So I'm gonna sand. I've already ripped these down too. Ended up going, I changed that out, that 1x8 to a 1x10 because I wanted to rip these at, instead of an inch 3/4. It just has a really good look to it from what I can see. So I exchanged that out. So it's a 1x10 that I ended up using to rip these down. I'm going to sand these edges, make them really nice, and then we're gonna pop them up there. All right, guys, so you can see I've got everything together, caulked, ready to be painted. Once this is all painted white, like I said, it'll be one big white cased opening. Still got to do some baseboard trim around here. But everything else is done. You can see what I meant by trim pieces coming over here, being a little different. I like it. Trim pieces over here. We did have this big piece of trim that was on this side. It was already here. Had to rip that off. So we'll do a little bit of drywall work there, some repaint, and it'll be good to go. Same on this side. Butts right up next to it. And not so much over here. So a little bit of touch-up paint. Paint the cased opening white. It'll be a nice little opening there. Thanks for watching.